Hey guys, Scott here. Today we're going to go over the changes that the Chucky patch is going to have from the PTB to live, and most of them are really good. They are basically everything that a lot of people ask for, and they're definitely on the right track. I'm not sure if these things will be enough exactly, but I also appreciate them being a bit conservative with the changes too, because over nerfing something is also not fun for the killer. So I think they've got a really good start here, and I'm pretty happy with what they've decided so far. So first off, Scamper. Scamper was the main issue with Chucky. In fact, it was basically one of the only problems I had with him. Scamper was the vault, when you can vault under a pallet. You could also scamper windows too, but it's not as fast. You could basically vault under a pallet while in hidey ho mode, and you would vault so fast and with basically no cooldown, so you could just vault right after survivors vaulted and basically just hit them. And it would just be very dumb because it was a very low skill version of the game. And although it wasn't necessarily super good, because you'd have to wait, 15 seconds between power uses and stuff like that, it was still absolutely brain dead gameplay that everyone on Survivor would hate going against. So I really wanted them to, dissuade people from having that play style quite a bit. So they have made Scamper take 1.4 seconds instead of 1.2. It's pretty minor change. Will it make a difference on certain loops? I'm not sure, but like I said, I'm okay with them being conservative with the nerfs for now. Let's try this new 1.4 second version. Let's see if that's a bit too much time to get around loops or if it's still really good. I don't know yet. 0.2 seconds is pretty damn minor. That's going to be a very small amount of difference, but on certain loops, it might be the differentiating factor, because I'm okay with Scamper being really good on God loops and stuff like that. Wesker's power can already do that as well. It's just, it was usable on almost every loop, even just short little junk loops. It would still give you a hit, especially if you ran the haste add-on after a Scamper. So it was definitely a problem that I guarantee would be complained about in the future. So good start. I'm not sure if this will be enough, but I'm very happy with their decision to address that at least. So let's mess around with this for a while and let's see if that's any different. And that's good. Additionally, they made the movement speed after missing Slice and Dice a bit slower, I would assume, because, yeah, there was basically like no miss cooldown. If you missed the Slice and Dice, you didn't lose any distance, really. So you were not punished at all for missing, and it was kind of ridiculous. It kind of reminded me of the old Xenomorph tail, where if they missed, it just didn't matter because they would just continue walking next to you and they just hit you again 2 seconds later. Slice and Dice was kind of like that as well. The one downside of this is there were some people that were using a combination of add-ons to make Slice and Dice almost a mobility tool. They would use their cooldown to just sort of swing and then go in the distance with it. They would run the duration add-ons with that as well, so they would go further. I'm not sure how viable that will be anymore. Like I said, this is just a general idea of what they're changing. I don't know the numbers or anything like that, so we'll see. This might be a noticeable nerf, or it might be barely anything. But one thing is for sure, it was basically, there was zero punishment for missing a Slice and Dice on the PTB, and that felt really bad as Survivor. Honestly, even as Killer, I would miss and I would still get a hit anyway. It didn't feel rewarding. So I'm okay with that change. Let's see exactly what it's like. But those are a couple of nerfs. What we got is a very, very nice buff, because another thing I was mentioning, that the duration add-ons for Slice and Dice, which make you hold, the charge for longer, it almost felt like it was required. So what they did was reduce the effects of those add-ons and incorporate a lot of that into their base kit. So Slice and Dice increased your duration by 30%, I believe, and now you basically have 20% additional duration by default. So I'm not sure what the Slice and Dice add-on's going to do, but it is great in my opinion, because it was almost a required add-on, and now we can just sort of use other stuff, which is a very, very good buff. I am all for killers receiving things like that into their power and reducing the reliance on add-ons that were way too strong. Or not even way too strong, just things that felt like they were such good quality of life that they just were required to use on the killer. They've done this a couple of times, and I'm really happy to see them do it here. Overall, this is pretty much every single change I wanted for Chucky. This is, other than numbers maybe being a bit too conservative or not conservative enough, this is pretty much exactly what I asked for, so I'm really happy with these changes. I think these are pretty much perfect. They did say they touched a couple of other add-ons too, and they didn't mention that, so I'm curious what they did there. But other than that, I think Chucky's pretty much a perfect killer. So we'll see, again, number-wise exactly how this works, but I'm really happy with these changes. Batteries included was made so it does not work at endgame. I don't know why they nerfed this perk. This was an unnecessary nerf. The perk was barely strong enough as it is. It gave you 5% haste for a couple of seconds after you were near a generator, and obviously during when you're near a generator that was completed. But because when the exit gates were powered, every gen is powered, they felt it was too strong. I don't. Who cares? I mean, just let them have a strong. Survivors have hope. They can run faster in endgame. Why can't killers have, batteries included that lets them run faster in endgame? You can say NOED, but NOED is eclipsed by hope anyway. So, yeah, I don't really know why they nerfed this. I feel like they should undo that. That's a bad change. This is completely unnecessary. Trickster, thank God. They have nerfed many of the main issues that I had. In fact, I really only had one main issue. It was just main event specifically, and then combining it with the death throws and then the fizzy spin soda. So you would just insta reload. You would never have to touch a locker the entire game. That was monstrously bad to go against. It was terrible. So that's the main thing I wanted to have, a fix for, and it seems like they did that. They also did a couple of other things. They made the throw rate back down to 3 blades a second instead of 4. So you have a bit more time now to react. It's basically just what Trickster currently has right now. So if you're currently playing Trickster and you didn't play the PTB, you won't notice any difference whatsoever. The laceration meter still remains at 8, though. So this is definitely making him weaker from the PTB, which was the intention, by the way. You do not want Trickster as strong as he was in the PTB. I guarantee it was going to be one of the most, if not the most hated killer in the entire game. But like I said, the main issue was main event. Main event on the PTB only took like 6 knives to activate, and that was insane. The reason was you can combine that with the add-on called Fizz Spin Soda, which reduced the hits required to get main event by 2. So you only needed to hit 4 knives to get main event. Then you could use Death Throws compilation, which instantly reloads all of your knives after a main event, and you had this incredibly busted build where you just simply never reloaded the entire game. You would just main event to reload, and it was really stupid. So I am extremely glad they removed that because every Trickster was going to run that. It was way too strong, and it is very good that they addressed that. So the add-on changes, basically they reward the combo thing now. People didn't even notice this combo thing on Trickster because so much other aspects of him were completely broken. You didn't even have to pay attention to this. And because people were using Death Throws compilation, they didn't notice. But there is a thing with Trickster where during main event, with the amount of knives you hit, you get rewarded for it if you hit a bunch of knives in a row. So there's like an actual incentive to not just randomly fling them everywhere. Actually hitting a bunch of knives in a row will give you combo points, and these now increase the effect or the window in which you can get those. So, I mean, that's cool. I'm not sure how useful that's going to be because hitting every single knife in a row is actually extremely hard with Trickster, in my opinion. Lowering the recoil or removing the recoil does make this a bit easier, but it's still not an easy thing to do unless you're right on their ass. So, I'm not sure how exactly effective those are going to be. We'll mess around with it, obviously, when it comes out. But this is the main thing that I think needed to be changed. So now Death Throws, whenever you hit somebody with main event, a single knife, you see their aura for 6 seconds, which is still very good, by the way. That's still extremely strong add-on. It makes it almost impossible to mind game them. And when they're in main event, it's still going to be extremely scary. But the old effect it had, combined with the fact that you don't need 30-something, you only need 8 now, this was way too strong, and I'm very glad it was changed. It's still a really cool add-on. I actually think that's still very good. But overall, Trickster is still getting, the movement speed buff as well. And that is going to be immensely helpful to begin with. And the amount of knives to hit main event has been cut down by like 70%. So those are still 2 very meaningful, huge buffs to Trickster. Everything else is pretty much exactly the same. And he's still going to be definitely stronger than he currently is, which, personal bias, I hate Trickster, so I'm still dreading that, but at least he doesn't have this ridiculous main event combo anymore. That was very stupid. So overall, other than the batteries included change, this is nearly a perfect update. I'm very impressed with what the devs did. I know it sounds like it can come off like a little self-centered to go, they did everything that I wanted, so it's a great patch. You have to understand, that's just my personal opinion. I can't declare that it is a good patch myself. In my opinion, this is pretty much perfect, and I'm really happy with what they did. I know a lot of my other content creator friends have the same opinions, especially about Trickster and Chucky, so I am very, very happy with this change. Is it the best change ever? Objectively, I have no idea, but I think this is perfect. So, good stuff, good stuff. And I'm excited to play Chucky in 5 days. Thanks for watching.